A few days ago, skyscrapers made to the headlines in India when twin towers taller than Qutub Minar were razed to the ground in Noida, Uttar Pradesh. With shrinking space, skyscrapers seem to have answers to the space crunch problems in many cities today. Today, as we observe Skyscrapers Day, we bring to you a talk on skyscrapers by Dr. Hiren Shah. A pediatrician by profession, Dr. Hiren Shah wears many hats. He is an avid traveler, photographer, blogger, writer, metagrobologist, heritage protagonist, art and antiquities collector, and the creator of a unique house museum which houses the biggest collection of trick locks in the world.
That was the evening of 8 June 2000. We were off to an architectural tour of Chicago on a Sunset River cruise, listening to fascinating stories of some 50 high-rise buildings in surrounding. While wondering at the picturesque skyline from the banks of Chicago River and further down from Lake Michigan, we learned that at the site of present Bank of America building, there used to be a landmark high-rise structure by the name of Home Insurance Building. It was built way back in 1885 by the architect Louis Sullivan, who had employed then a new fireproof technology with use of Bessemer steel and designed such a tall building for the first time in American history. He coined the term skyscraper. Few more similar high-risers were built by his team by the end of 19th century in America. Sullivan was aptly been recognized as the father of modern skyscrapers. And to commemorate his achievements, World Skyscraper Day is celebrated every year on his birth anniversary, 3rd September. So friends, World Skyscraper Day is a time to marvel at the artistry and elegance of tall buildings. This day also gives us a unique opportunity to appreciate architectural wonders and feats of modern engineering in erecting these skyscrapers. These high-risers do not just grace our big cities with their bold and beautiful existence, but they sketch unique skylines with their massive presence, as if their roofs scrape the sky literally. Skyscrapers have become quite common in modern times, gradually rising in both number and height in past 100 years. But do you know, the first skyscraper, that Home Insurance Building of Chicago, was merely 10 stories and only 138 feet tall. That would not even be counted as a skyscraper by today's standards. Then how do we define skyscrapers and differentiate them from other high-rise structures? As of today, a skyscraper is a tall, continuously habitable building of minimum 40 floors and height of 150 meters or 490 feet. Initial criteria of 100-meter height till last decade is still used in many references, comparisons and tabulations. Say for example, there are about 23,000 high-rises in the world which are more than 100 meters, of which about 1/4, that is about 6,500 structures, are skyscrapers of 150 meters. Over the time, with technological advances, our ability to engineer and construct tall buildings is improving drastically. And gradually we may be asking, how tall is too tall? So further in the nomenclature, skyscrapers above 300 meters are classified as super tall, and ones exceeding 600 meters are mega tall. As of 2022, there are 173 super talls of 300 meters, while only 4 completed buildings are mega talls of 600 meters in the world. Of them, Burj Khalifa in Dubai, UAE, at 828 meters, at the moment is the tallest skyscraper in the world. Next is Merdeka Towers in Malaysia. Shanghai Towers in China stands third, and fourth in the list is Makkah Clock Tower in Saudi Arabia with height of 601 meters. Such quest of humankind to scale greater heights had been since ancient times. While browsing Wikipedia, I realized that a journey from pyramids to modern skyscrapers is not less elevating and fascinating. Giza Pyramid in Egypt, built around 2500 BC at 146 meters, remained the tallest structure for hundreds of years, though it was never habitable. There are fanciful references in our scriptures, say about the Tower of Babel in Mesopotamia, which was described as tall as touching heaven. Even if we pass it off as a myth, high-rise apartments known as insulae are proved to exist in ancient Roman Empire. Historians in 16th century have recorded that medieval cities like Fustat in Egypt and Shibam in Yemen had 100 feet tall residential tower houses. Some remnants of such ancient skyscrapers in form of mud bricks buildings are still existing in Yemen. The oldest iron frame building in the world from 1797 which may be called as grandfather of skyscrapers, is still seen today in England at Shrewsbury, a town 200 kilometers north of London. 300 years later, today in 21st century, London is nowhere in the list of first 50 cities by number of skyscrapers. Rather, Hong Kong tops the list as the city with most skyscrapers at whopping 4,000 plus, of which 500 are above 300 meters. This makes Victoria Harbour one of the most iconic and spectacular skylines in the world. Of the 10 cities having maximum number of skyscrapers, I am fortunate to have clicked the skylines of 5: Hong Kong, New York, Dubai, Tokyo and Chicago. The rest 5 in the list are from China. No wonder, China as the country tops the list with more than half of the total skyscrapers of the world. Second country in the list is United States of America, and next is United Arab Emirates, that's Dubai mainly. As Indians, we are not far behind too. In the global list, we stand at 12th number with hundreds of high-risers and 126 skyscrapers between 150 to 200 meter height. Most of them are in Mumbai, then in Delhi and Calcutta. The credit of first tall building goes to LIC building in Chennai with 12 floors built in 1959. 2 years later, in 1961, it was surpassed by Usha Kiran building, the 25-story building at 80 meters in Mumbai. At the moment, Palace Royal, a residential tower in Worli, Mumbai, is the tallest building in the country with a height of 320 meters. And Apnu Ahmedabad is also not missable in this talk. Apna Bazaar, popularly known as Bahumali Makan, in the old city of Ahmedabad was the first multi-story tall building built in the mid-60s. Till now, Ahmedabad's skyline has several high-risers of 70-meter constructions with about 25 floors. Just 2 years back, the government of Gujarat paved the way and granted permission for the buildings even up to 70 floors in the state. Few such projects are now already under construction. The upcoming Gift City in Gandhinagar is also proposed to have big number of skyscrapers. So in near future, we too will need to stretch our necks upwards to gaze at these superstructures. Because of the enormous cost in erecting them, these skyscrapers are also counted as the markers of economic growth. According to one report, $1 million is the average cost per floor to build a skyscraper in USA. Of course, there are many variables in that figure, but one can just calculate 8 crore rupees per floor, which makes skyscrapers quite prohibitive, more so in the developing countries. So $1 million question, are skyscrapers important in today's world? Answer is yes. Because in simple words, they provide smart space planning and compact urban living. This vertical growth of habitat creates more breathing space for the society, more sustainable community living with possibility of sparing more open spaces for plazas, parks and gardens for the citizens. Skyscrapers also address the issues of housing shortage in the crowded cities. And of course, they are lucratively marketed to the potential buyers as housing with great visibility, great amenities, and better quality of light, wind, and windows for great views and vistas. And then, one offbeat advantage of these skyscrapers is the promotion of tourism. Their observation decks and viewing galleries at the top floor offer the visitors panoramic and dramatic views of the surrounding areas and some famous locations of the cities. But then, there are downsides too. Apart from the exorbitant costs, the clusters of such structures may create a concrete jungle paradoxically, which won't remain any more eco-friendly. And there is a degree of apprehension, especially while going towards the higher floors, called acrophobia. I do recollect the panic among one group of the visitors at the top deck of a Sunshine Rokuju, Tokyo's 60-story skyscraper. There they sense some oscillations, that too in an earthquake-prone country of Japan. Even Burj Khalifa at 2700 feet sways by about 6 feet, which can scare faint-hearted people. But this swaying or vibrations are not the signs of any fault or danger. Still, for the residents, there is always a concern about the safety and available modes of evacuation, especially during fires and natural disasters like earthquakes. And man-made disasters? Who will forget Twin Towers of New York, 9/11, those dreadful video clips of skyscrapers crashing down by terrorist planes? I had opportunity to visit these twin towers and take pictures of my twin sons in front of them in the previous year only. As a tribute, I had scribbled down a twins pledge, a set of quartets in a poetic form. If I can read out just a first one, which goes like this. Alas, the twin towers did crumble and fall, victims of criminal act by terrorists all. Together in life they stood majestic and tall, and together in death they answered destiny's call. Yes, these both towers came down together. In the poem, further two quartets describe my twin sons, their activities and resolve. But the last one starts with the stanza like this. Ere long, twin towers will rise again graceful and tall, for the spirit of man overcomes any storm or squall. Ere long, twin towers will rise again means in near future, these towers will be rebuilt. That was my wishful thinking 20 years back when I had written this poem. Because the spirit of man overcomes any calamity. That was my conviction of mankind's resolution and strong willpower to bounce back. And literally, after a decade and a half, on the same site known as Ground Zero, now a memorial, there came up at 540 meters the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere, Freedom Tower, which is now called as One World Trade Center. And speaking about indomitable spirit of man, we humans are obsessed with aiming higher and higher. In years to come, how tall will be skyscrapers in the form of superstructures or the giants in the sky? It will be anybody's wild guess. But for sure, for the futuristic skyscrapers, sky will not be the limit. With big thank you, I, Dr. Hiren Shah, conclude wishing you all a very happy World Skyscraper Day.
That was a talk on skyscrapers by Dr. Hiren Shah. This talk came to you from Ahmedabad, Vadodara station of All India Radio.